One rapper got exposed for being zesty, and another snitched on his own blood for some food. These are the craziest rapper moments behind bars caught on camera. We gotta start with Tory Lanez. After Tory got locked up on that gun case, he ended up in a prison altercation that almost cost him his life. This all goes back to July 2020, when Tory and Megan Thee Stallion had that heated situation after leaving Kylie Jenner's party. Shots went off, and Megan got hit in the foot.
Its office says Lanez, whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, shot Megan's feet during an argument in the Hollywood Hills July 12th.
After the long, messy trial, Tory was sentenced to 10 years in August 2023. At first, they did not even put him in the general population because they feared something might happen since he was a celebrity. Turns out they were right, because on May 12, 2025, Tory got stabbed inside California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi. CCTV footage caught Tory fighting for his life, standing on business while another inmate tried to poke him down with a shank like he was really trying to end him. Hours later, Tory's management went on IG to clear things up. They said he got stabbed 14 times, with 7 in the back, 4 in the torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 across the face. Both of his lungs collapsed, and he had to be placed on a breathing machine. Somehow, he still survived and was even stable shortly after the incident. The dude who stabbed Tory was identified as Santino Casio, a gang member serving life for murder with a long list of charges since being inside. Nobody really knows what sparked the tension between him and Tory, but word on the streets is that it could have been a green light from the outside or just prison politics gone wrong. Megan's fans push back, saying she ain't got nothing to do with the stabbing.
People try to say that Megan sent him and so forth. That's nonsense. Megan does not know any lifers in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because the guy was a child.
Tory's legal team quickly filed a petition asking the California governor to pardon Chaim. Both Drake and Yes showed support by sharing it with a Free Tory stamp. As of now, the incident is still being investigated, and the suspect has not been charged yet. But while Tory was fighting for his life, this next rapper had his whole street reputation questioned after word came out that he was getting freaky with other inmates behind those walls. Back in 2023, a video of Chicago rapper Lil Jay leaked online, showing another inmate kissing him and sitting on his lap right in the prison common area. A couple of dudes tried to press him, but the inmate did not move an inch. At the time, Lil Jay was serving a 12-year sentence for conspiracy to commit murder and intent to kill after a shootout during a 2019 drug deal. But as soon as the clip hit the internet, people started questioning his street credibility. Jay fired back on IG with a voice message saying the person in that video was not him, and that his ops were just trying to ruin his reputation.
Try to put me on there. Look at this, man. Like, come on, y'all try anything. Face though, bad. Tattoos though, bad. Body though, the skin tone. Come on, man.
He also popped up in an interview saying he did not care if people believed it was him or not, as long as his fans and his crew were still standing by him.
I'm not even gonna lie. I saw that video. I saw it a lot of times. Like, some people say it is me, some people say it ain't me. I'd have been on.
This was not the first time his ops tried pushing that rumor. In a 2022 Say Cheese interview, Jay addressed it head-on, saying he was not fazed because he was not gay, and that the ops spreading the narrative would never say it to his face. According to him, they only started talking like that once he got locked up.
When I heard that shit, that was the most goofy shit I ever heard in my life. None of that shit, why the f***? But I do anything with a gay motherfucker, I fuck all the I ain't got nothing to give.
Later, Jay doubled down in another interview, saying he was done denying the rumors because people had already decided in their minds that he was gay.
Y'all gave me that jacket. All y'all tried to ridicule me. So there's no reason for me to be like, oh, no, it ain't me or it's me. Y'all put the jacket on me already on phone number.
But just because Jay was moving a little sus does not mean he was soft. When other inmates tried to test him, he handled it quickly. Not long after the clip leaked, another prison video surfaced, showing Lil Jay swinging on an inmate and knocking him out cold after trying to square up. Another clip from February 2018 showed Lil Jay catching a fade with fellow inmate Rashawn Jackson, the one who started harassing one of the trans inmates Jay was rocking with. Jay stepped up, checked him, and told him to slide into a nearby cell so they could settle it. That's when things went left. Jay started swinging, putting his hands on Rashawn, while other inmates stood around watching. Some even ran to alert the guards. It was only after the fight ended that the trans inmate was finally able to come out to the public area. That clip sparked rumors that the person was Jay's partner, but that's never been confirmed. While Lil Jay's reputation kept him solid behind bars, this next rapper had to fight for his life after turning his back on the streets. Brooklyn rapper Kasanova was making serious waves in hip-hop before he got locked up on a RICO case, and he almost got smoked behind bars. Kasanova was one of the founding members of the untouchable guerrilla Stone Nation, a blood set out in New York. But when the feds dropped an indictment on him and his crew in 2020, Kasanova turned himself in, facing more than 60 years inside. Instead of staying loyal to the Guerrilla Stones and falling in line, Kasanova decided he wanted to switch up his life. Right before his sentencing in June 2023, he wrote a letter to the judge, renouncing his gang ties and promising to speak out against the gangster lifestyle in exchange for a lighter sentence. His family and friends also sent their own letters backing him up, saying Kasanova had changed, but the gang was not about to let him walk away clean. Just days later, another inmate named Ulysses Lugo ran up on him with a blade, slashing him across the face and leaving him with a serious injury. Kasanova did not let it slide, though. He and his people chased Lugo down and started jumping him, leaving both of them bloodied up. In the end, Kasanova was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months, so it appears his appeal was successful. But Kasanova was not the only rapper who got pressed for trying to leave the game. This next rapper got smoked after fellow inmates thought he was snitching. MoneySign Suede was a rising star in the LA hip-hop scene, dropping bangers back-to-back and even signing with Atlantic Records. But in 2022, he ended up in a bad situation and got sentenced to 2 years and 8 months on a gun charge. Just like Kasanova, MoneySign kept his distance from the gang politics inside. He stayed to himself and tried to keep out of trouble. The Nuestra Familia gang was the biggest set in Soledad, where he was housed, and they felt disrespected that he would not fall in line. Even worse, he was spending a lot of time on the phone with his girlfriend, which gave the other inmates the impression that he might be snitching. In April 2023, just 5 months into his sentence, MoneySign suddenly disappeared during the nighttime count. A CO went looking for him, but his cell was empty. After a search, they found his body unresponsive in the shower, with injuries that made it clear he had been jumped. Officers tried to revive him, but it was already too late. The prison never released the footage, and officials kept the details about his injuries quiet. Rumors online said the hit was carried out by the Nuestra Familia gang, but nobody was ever charged. His career was cut short before it even had the chance to take off, and the ones who did it got away with it. MoneySign Suede got smoked just for staying out of the mix, but this next rapper had clip after clip going viral behind bars for being way too problematic. King Von stood on business in prison, putting hands on his ops and letting everybody know he was really about that life both outside and behind them walls. But after one fight with a rival gang, Von knew he needed to lie low for a while. So he decided to chill in protective custody by pretending he was gay.
They supposed to be a Christian, but they got a problem with gay people. They gonna be Christian.
You tell the CO was not buying it, but Von stood firm. He kept pushing the story that inmates in the general population were picking on him because of his orientation.
They got a problem with me. I don't never start nothing. All right.
He even took it further, getting intimate with another dude on the other side just to sell the act.
Bye, Lil Josh. Fuck you too.
Vaughn got moved out, but once the video surfaced online, the internet went crazy with rumors that Vaughn was secretly on the down low. But his fans saw through the whole thing and knew Vaughn was just trying to play the system. Truth is, Vaughn was never the one being bullied. He was the one pressing other inmates, like one time when he started picking on a dude named Dion Mathis. Instead of throwing punches right away, Vaughn challenged him to a slapboxing match. At first it looked playful, with Vaughn even running around like it was a joke. But when Dion stood his ground, Vaughn turned serious, and things got dark fast. Vaughn beat him down while the rest of the inmates cheered. Afterward, both of them got interviewed by correctional officers. Vaughn brushed it off, saying it was nothing serious.
What happened?
He just was playing, talking to him, stop, stop.
Okay, why were you horse playing?
We don't never go to rec.
Okay, you got any injuries, sir?
Even after taking that loss and breaking down on the spot, Dion still refused to snitch on Vaughn. Instead, he told the COs they were just playing around, and it got out of control, making it clear he had no issues with Vaughn. You could tell he did not want to end up on Vaughn's target list.
Tell me what happened.
And I told him I ain't playing. I ain't got time to be lost, man.
Okay, we're gonna get.
At the time, Dion was serving time for his role in a 2011 homicide, but unfortunately, he never made it home. Because in May 2023, prison officials found him unresponsive in his cell at the Western Illinois Correctional Center in Mount Sterling. His autopsy showed no signs of trauma, but his mama believed he was probably jumped by other inmates who had problems with him, or the correctional officers. His death remains a mystery. Speaking of getting pressed, Vaughn went wild when he spotted one of his ops dissing his dead homies. Neo 51 Freaky and a couple of other inmates were chilling in the holding cell when Vaughn walked in and saw him, and started pressing him for getting a tattoo that said, LA. L.A. Capone was an O-Block rapper and black disciple, making noise in the streets and in the booth before he was killed in 2013. He was close with Chief Keef and Lil Durk, and his set was beefing with Hero 551's crew, the same gang Freaky reps. Even though Freaky had nothing to do with L.A.'s death, he got the tattoo to stand with his gang and disrespect his ops. Vaughn was not going for it. He walked over to one of his homies, slipped off his cuffs, and went to work on Freaky. Officers had to step in to save Freaky. Later, when Vaughn got interviewed, he denied everything, saying he did not start the fight.
In your own words, explain what happened?
Do nothing.
You refuse to give a statement?
That's my statement right there.
Even the COs could not explain how he got out of his cuffs. They kept putting them back on to show he was correctly cuffed in the first place.
You could even see that he was cuffed correct, because you could see the marks from the cuffs on his arm. How'd you get out of your cuffs? How'd you get out of your...
Outside the cell, Freaky called Vaughn a sucker for jumping him while cuffed. Vaughn did not care. But that didn't mean he was going to snitch on Vaughn. He kept it solid, saying he didn't want to press charges since the fight wasn't that serious.
Mr. Howard, in your own words, explain what happened?
Slight incident. It's nothing though. It's nothing.
Anything else you want to add?
Vaughn has more fight footage in prison than almost any other rapper. In another clip, he and his homies caught one of their ops in the hallway and jumped him right in front of the officer. Reinforcements had to be called in to break it up. When questioned, Vaughn flipped the story, saying the officer maced him out of nowhere.
You get made.
I was in the hallway.
You was in the hallway.
I was in the barber shop. Hit the corner. Who makes me skip? I don't know. Somebody makes me.
But he was not done. Another time, he was seen sneaking pills into the building and popping them on camera. Nobody knows what they were or why Von wanted the guards to see. But it was not even the craziest thing he pulled. In another situation, Von's homie was fighting one of his ops, and even with the guards standing right there, Von jumped in, dropped the dude, and still tried to keep swinging until he got maced. He and his crew even tried setting the jail on fire, piling uniforms in a corner and lighting them up. The whole place was filled with smoke before it was put out. But even after catching heat, Von still knew how to work his charm. One time during an interview, he started rizzing up a female officer right in the middle of questioning.
I'm not doing it again.
Sergeant Williamson, October 16, 1733.
It's your third time recording.
She was trying to get details about the fight, but Von was more focused on making her crack a smile. Von loved the chaos, but he always stayed on guard. Unlike this next rapper, whose death was almost caught on camera. Chicago drill rapper KTS Dre was always on demon time, both in the streets and behind bars. But one day, his ops caught him slipping, and he never made it out alive. Dre was part of a gangster disciples set known as KTS, short for Kill to Survive. In April 2020, police pulled him over at a gas station on South Halsted Street after getting tipped off that he was carrying a gun, even though he was already on parole for a 2015 firearm conviction. When an officer tried to snatch a 9mm Glock off his lap, Dre fought back. He was no stranger to standing his ground, but the cops overpowered him. Dre got booked for felony gun possession and resisting arrest, and ended up spending more than a year locked up before he was released to house arrest. But Dre was not built for sitting still. He started violating the conditions of his bond, and the police scooped him up again. At this point, Dre had been going in and out of the system for over a decade, but this time, he would not be coming back. Because after his fiancée posted his bail, word got out about the exact time he was walking free. As soon as Dre stepped out of Cook County Jail with a 60-year-old woman who came to pick him up, a car pulled up and two shooters hopped out blasting. Dre was hit 64 times and died right there on the spot. The woman with him took a bullet to the knee and was rushed to Stroger Hospital where she survived. Another woman nearby caught a graze to her face but managed to walk away with no major injuries. Police opened an investigation, but Dre's killers were never identified or charged. Rumors quickly started spreading that one of his main ops, 600 Breezy, had something to do with it, especially since Dre had previously threatened to pull up on him. Kasu got picked up for the murder, but in October 2021, leaked footage from inside the jail showed him getting brutalized by correctional officers. It started with a CO coming to cuff Ksu and move him out of his cell. At first, he went along without a fight, but then words got exchanged and things escalated quick. Things got heated, and the officer was seen slamming Ksu to the ground, while another officer also intervened, holding him down. Ksu's mama wasted no time filing a complaint, accusing the guards of using excessive force. She claimed one of them even taunted her son about his sister, who had just been shot in the face shortly before this incident. But Jacksonville Sheriff Mike Williams hit back with a letter saying the officers did nothing wrong. Ksu wasn't the only rapper who ended up getting violated by the same people who were supposed to protect him. This next rapper had the entire world demanding justice after news of his brutalization spread online. But unlike a lot of rappers, footage of Kodak Black's prison beatdowns never makes it to the public. That doesn't mean they weren't graphic, though. Kodak's been known to clash with guards everywhere he touched down. Back in May 2020, while serving a 3-year bid at Big Sandy Penitentiary in Kentucky, Kodak allegedly got jumped by a group of COs for no reason. His lawyer later hit IG with a statement, saying Kodak couldn't even call himself because the guards were punishing him by cutting off his visits and phone privileges for 6 months. According to other inmates, Kodak was cuffed up, repeatedly struck in the head with a metal object, and even had one guard flicking his balls while taunting him, saying he ain't so gangster behind bars. His lawyer, Bradford Cohen, said he was demanding a full investigation from the DOJ, the FBI, and even a third party. But that wasn't the first or last time Kodak had problems with the guards. A few months before that, his family announced they were suing the DOJ after Kodak was allegedly laced with some unknown substance while locked at the federal detention center in Miami. Kodak said the drug gave him an out-of-body experience, like he was possessed and dying slowly. On top of that, he claimed guards beat and tortured him while he was under the influence, and denied him medical help when he begged for it. The beating was so bad, Kodak said, they had to wheel him to the box, where he spent 45 days straight with no commissary and no hygiene products. His mama confirmed he was being denied visits and constantly thrown in solitary confinement as punishment. That's why he eventually got transferred to Kentucky. But conditions there turned out even worse. At the end of the day, the lawsuit went nowhere, and none of the guards faced consequences for putting their hands on him. Speaking of consequences, this next rapper lost all his street cred the second he got caught snitching on camera. When rappers get locked up, alliances flip quickly. Close friends turn into enemies overnight. That's exactly what happened with FBG Butta and Lil Jay. They used to be tight, repping the Flyboy gang together, until both of them got tied up in a legal mess after a May 2015 shooting that left a man named Philmoni Resine dead. The feds started sniffing around, and both Butta and Lil Jay got booked on federal gun charges. That's when the Brotherhood started cracking. Even while they were locked, they couldn't stop throwing shots at each other.
It's a little shit though, man. Real always prevail, man. Bro, they know what they did. You know what I'm saying?
And how do you...
Things went all the way left in 2016 when Lil Jay allegedly put a hit on Butta behind bars. CCTV didn't catch the jump out, but when Butta pulled up at the medical ward looking busted up, it was clear he got caught lacking. Instead of keeping it G, Butta broke down and started snitching, pointing out names and blaming dudes for setting him up.
3 South and Division 9, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Somebody dropped my name for Law Library. I did not sign up for Law Library. They tried to...
Butta didn't hold back. He told the CO somebody lined him up while he was leaving the library.
We came back from the Law Library. We all was uncuffed, and then 3 guys ran up on me, and they jumped on me in the hallway.
Then he doubled down, saying he couldn't even defend himself because the COs started putting their hands on him instead of breaking up the fight.
I made Jeff move up. I got to keep separate on him. He's my rapper and my kid. He's son of guy. They call him Prince. I don't know his real name, but they call him Prince. He son him to fight me.
That paperwork and finger pointing torched his street cred, but Butta didn't seem to care. And according to Lil Jay, that wasn't even the first time Butta sold him out. In a Say Cheese interview, Jay claimed Butta once wrote a statement about him just to get some food. According to Lil Jay, the reason he didn't beat his case was because Butta wrote a statement saying he did it, which was why he paid for him to get jumped in prison.
Wrote a statement on you. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we talking about Italian beef and Pepsi?
I'm talking about Butta.
Italian beef and Pepsi. I don't know who Butta is, man.
Butta later clapped back in a Vlad TV interview, denying the snitching, but throwing shade by saying if he had done it, it would have been deserved after everything Jay put him through.
As much as he didn't put me, shit, I might as well testified on his ass. I still would have came home. From the looks of things, I still would have came home, been Butta.
Butta also defended himself over the statement Lil Jay kept bringing up, saying the case was already sealed, whether he wrote it or not. Either way, the damage was done. The two have been going back and forth ever since, and it's looking like their beef will never die down. Butta might have dodged his ops once he touched back down on the streets. But this next rapper wasn't so lucky. His enemies were waiting for him the second he got out. Back in March 2022, Miami rapper Baby Cino got caught lacking fresh out of jail, and the situation turned deadly quickly. Cino's music was just starting to buzz in the city when he caught a case. Cops in Opa-locka pulled him over for driving with an obscured license plate, searched his whip, and found a fully loaded Glock 32. He got booked on a gun charge, but 2 days later, he bonded out. His homie Dante Collins Banks came to scoop him up from Turner Guilford Night Correctional, but they didn't even make it far. As soon as they hit the Palmetto Expressway, another car pulled up and released a hail of bullets on the ride.
Cino was shot and killed when an unknown shooter fired into this red Altima back in March of 2022. But it's what happened after
Cino got hit in the head and died instantly. Banks was struck in the stomach, but was rushed to Jackson Memorial and survived. Before his death, Cino was repping Boss Life in Little Haiti, a crew with beef all across Miami. With so many enemies, it was hard to pin down exactly who was behind the drive-by. But a couple of months later, police dropped CCTV footage from a February 2022 shooting, showing Cino and his crew sliding on an op in Miami-Dade. One man ended up dead.
You'll only see on 7. Capturing terrifying moments of a quadruple shooting happening February 16th.
Cops claim Cino's murder was straight revenge for that hit, though nobody was ever arrested for it. If you thought that was wild, wait until you see what happened when another rapper's prison scar went viral. When Tay-K showed up to court in 2024 with a big scar running down the back of his neck, fans immediately started speculating he must have been attacked in prison. And knowing Tay's history, that theory didn't sound too crazy. A few years back, Tay wasn't just rapping. He was living wild as a gangbanging teenager, ducking the law after 2 bodies dropped. Because back in July 2017, Tay and his crew hit the crib of a man named Ethan Walker in Mansfield, Texas. The plan was simple. One of the girls, Megan Holt, was supposed to seduce Ethan, then let the rest of the crew in so they could rob him. But things went left, shots rang out, and both Ethan and his roommate, Zachary Belote, got hit. Everybody got arrested and charged, but while the trial was moving, Tay was placed on house arrest. Just days before his court date, Tay jumped on Twitter saying, "This house arrest," cut off his ankle monitor, and went on the run. While he was on the loose, he recorded his most famous track, The Race, and allegedly caught another body in a separate robbery. But his run didn't last. By May 2017, the cops tracked him down and locked him up for good. The crazy part is the music video for The Race dropped the same day Tay got captured. The raw energy of the track had everybody tuned in, and it blew up heavy. The song climbed all the way to number 46 on the Billboard Hot 100 and sparked the whole free take wave across social media. But just because Tay was fighting a case didn't mean he was gonna stop wilding. In 2018, Tay got caught smuggling a phone into his cell, tossing trays and wet toilet paper at COs, and even threatening to kill them. He even tried starting his own prison set of the Crips called the Rugrats. The warden shut that down quickly, throwing Tay in solitary before he could build up his little army. So when that scar popped up on his neck years later, nobody knew if it was from an inmate trying to take him out, or if he ran into a dirty guard. The officials kept quiet, and the mystery still hangs over him today. But as wild as Tay-K's story was, it's nothing compared to the time an inmate tried to drop the leader of another gang on camera. YFN and YSL have been at war for over a decade, trading diss tracks and bodies. So when YFN Lucci got locked up on a RICO charge, one YSL goon saw the perfect chance to take him out. It all went down in February 2022, when YSL member Jaden Myrick, better known as YSL Trip, ran up on Lucci inside Fulton County Jail and tried to poke him with a shank. Lucci held his ground, swinging back and slipping the blade at the same time. Trip wasn't letting up though. He kept lunging, trying to punch a hole in Lucci. This was no street fade where somebody could just jump up a pole and end it quickly. Inside prison, it was straight bare knuckles and survival, and Lucci knew his life was on the line. Luckily for Lucci, he managed to pin Trip to the floor before the COs finally rushed in.
Put it down! I ain't got one! Put it down! Put it!
You don't suck shit. So? Put it down. I ain't wanna go.
But Trip wasn't calming down. He kept spazzing until the officer dropped him with a taser.
Get down! Don't slide the weapon nowhere. Get down! Get down!
When news of the stabbing leaked online, rumors started flying that Lucci was dead, especially since his former label mate Rich Homie Quan had just passed away 2 weeks earlier. TMZ had to step in and clear it up, letting everyone know Lucci was still alive. Later on, prosecutors even brought the incident up during Young Thug's RICO trial, claiming Thug ordered the hit. Thug's lawyers denied it, saying there's no beef between YSL and YFN. But that wasn't the last time a member of YFN ran into problems behind bars. Because CP3 was part of the YFN crew and one of the shooters in the drive-by that got Lucci locked up in the first place. While he was sitting in Fulton County Jail, a pack of YSL goons ran down on him and started poking him up, calling him a fake blood. Even though he got jumped by almost a dozen dudes, the Shanks barely did anything. CP3 walked off with little to no injuries. Fans were clowning, saying the goons must have been stabbing him with sporks, since he wasn't leaking at all. But this next rapper took prison violence to another level, and he did it all right on camera. NBA YoungBoy ain't no stranger to prison violence, but instead of being the victim, YoungBoy is usually the one doing the bullying. Back in February 2019, he got arrested at the Hyatt House in downtown Atlanta after his baby mama, Star Thigpen, got into it with a hotel housekeeper.
Take me. No, I'm about to take me. Man, get my baby. What I gotta show you your man finna take me? Oh, you finna do something? Man, my baby in the room. You wanna do something? My baby in the room. Okay. Get ready to stop.
When the cops pulled up, YoungBoy started acting tough. His kid was in the room, and he didn't want social services to take him. The cops cuffed both him and Star anyway and hauled them off to jail. But instead of cooling off, YoungBoy cranked it up, telling the officer at the station he was gonna start wildin' the moment those cuffs came off.
Yeah, it's booking. Alright, so you wanna sit in that bitch house? This is the first thing when you're mad, I'm gonna break one of y'all phones first. You ain't gonna get my phone. The payphone. Your lawyer on the way down here, I don't even think.
The officer tried to calm him down, letting him know his lawyer was already on the way, and not to do anything stupid that would complicate his case.
3 hours and right back out. But if you go in there and make a problem, then you're not gonna get right out. You got a small ass charge. Let it stay a small charge so you can get out.
Oh, he has Freddy Krueger scratches on his face.
Oh, you seen him?
Yeah, he was in the prison.
YoungBoy doubled down, saying he was gonna terrorize anybody in whatever cell they put him in. The officer warned him again, telling him he'd be stuck in jail longer if he caused problems.
3 hours and right back out. But if you go in there and make a problem, then you're not gonna get right out. You got a small ass charge. Let it stay a small charge so you can get out.
That time, YoungBoy let it slide. But fast forward to 2021, he got locked up again, and that's when the bullying really showed. According to reports, YoungBoy hogged the TV remote all day, turned it off if anybody else wanted to watch, and blasted the volume while the rest of the pod was trying to sleep. One inmate finally pressed him about it, and YoungBoy snapped. He threatened to drop a bag on the dude's family, saying he could get them touched. The inmate wasn't trying to hear that and swung first. YoungBoy fought back, and the two went at it until the COs rushed in and broke it up. The footage never made it out to the public, the same way it didn't when this next rapper almost caught a body while locked in juvie. Before his tragic death in 2018, XXXTentacion had a rep for being violent, because during his second stint in jail, he almost killed another inmate just for looking at him wrong. X broke it down during his No Jumper interview in 2017. He said the guards first tried putting the dude in Ski Mask the Slump God's cell, but Ski felt uncomfortable and asked them to move him.
Anyway, so he's sitting in the corner staring at me, so I'm just banging on the door. I'm like, yeah, y'all gotta up out of here. But I'm just banging on that. I kept banging on till they let me out. So they put him in
my room. All right, I'm gonna tell you that part. So all right, we're sitting in what's called a horseshoe because it was a tent. It's a young jail.
Right.
So like
the guards then asked X if they could put the dude in his cell. He agreed, but with one condition. He told them straight up he would murder the dude if he tried anything funny.
And I looked at them and I laughed and I was like, y'all can put him in my room, but if he does anything I disapprove of, I'm not gonna give you any warning. Like, and I said it just.
At first things were cool, and X was starting to let his guard down around the dude. But then the dude started acting sus, staring too hard, and trying to touch on X.
He was staring at me type shit. He was staring at me throughout the day. And like, bro, jail makes you crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was like asking him, there was days where I'd slam my head on the door for no reason. Like I just wake up and
just because you want to feel something. What else are you gonna do? Yeah.
And there's crazy people.
X wasn't feeling it. He warned the dude, letting him know things could get ugly. The warning didn't work. X went to take a shower, and when he came back, the dude was still moving. Weirdly. That's when X snapped. He put his hands on him and didn't hold back.
Like concrete slabs, like for beds, and then there's like a styrofoam on top of it. So I pulled off the styrofoam and I threw his head on the corner and I just started stomping like his jaw and then as soon as I did that, like I remember like
X went completely crazy on the dude, and by the time he was done, the entire cell was covered in blood.
And long story short, I was gonna kill him because of what he did. Like I
just felt that,
bro. He was just staring, bro. He was staring at me. You feel me?
Luckily, a guard heard the screaming and rushed in before X actually finished the job. That moment showed just how dangerous X could really get behind bars. But if there's anyone else who ain't afraid to catch a fade, it's this next dude. Because Crip Mac ain't like your average rapper, he's built for chaos, got deep ties with the streets, and he's proud to rep his set whether outside or locked up. But when he landed in jail surrounded by his own enemies, he had to fight just to survive. Mac was doing time in federal prison, minding his business, but letting it be known he wasn't ducking no smoke. Problem was, he found himself surrounded by a pod full of bloods. And this time, he ain't have his crew to back him up.
All I heard was blood, 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 blood constantly, and I still went in there. But as soon as I went in there, look, everything went silent. I said to myself, oh, cuh.
From the moment he walked in, Mac knew it was bad. Almost everybody in there was bigger than him.
Over there was some my size, a little smaller, and I looked. They're about 6'6", 370 pounds, light-skinned, big, swole.
Oh no.
When they asked him to introduce himself, Mac stood tall, claiming his seat without hesitation. The leader of the Bloods told him he had to catch a fade if he wanted to stay alive. Mac didn't fold. He squared up even though the dude towered over him.
On my shirt, squared up with him, right? I'm coming in as fast as I can, try to hit him. It once. That hit me so hard, I thought a hammer bust my whole face open. Like, I can't start swinging again, this mother.
Mac got beaten so bad his face was swollen and busted, and he even lost a couple of teeth. But that fight earned him respect. Even in enemy territory, he proved he was solid. And that's the thing with prison. If you're a gangster, catching fades is unavoidable. But this next rapper almost fumbled his whole shot at freedom after getting into it in jail. During the YSL RICO trial in 2024, Gotti ran into problems when one of his ops pulled up on him in Fulton County Jail.
Your life online and you know it wrong. Ain't it scared cause you actually know you done did something? That's a different type of scared. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's multiple type of situation. It's scared cause your life on the line and like...
Gotti was one of the 28 indicted with Young Thug for racketeering conspiracy. But unlike most of them, he didn't take a plea. He was fighting gun and murder charges, staring down decades behind bars. Right before the jury gave their verdict, he got into a fight with another inmate at the South Annex.
I beat that stab.
What was the argument over? Was it because people were trying to call you a snitch in jail and so forth? Was that part of it?
He held his ground, but still ended up getting stabbed in the head a few times. Luckily, his injuries were minor, and he actually went on to beat the RICO case. But Gotti couldn't stay out of trouble. In June 2024, while still locked up, he and some homies jumped another inmate in his cell, attacking him with electrical cords. On top of that, he got hit with contraband and assault charges. Eventually, his lawyer managed to work out a deal, Gotti was sentenced to 12 years with 9 months to serve and credit for time already served.